Before we begin, I would like to announce that after such a long time of waiting, my channel finally has a membership, complete with 5 different levels that offer new and exciting perks, such as channel-exclusive emojis, access to members-only live chats and content, even discounts for merchandise, if I ever release any. I'm still working out the finer details, so just bear with me. And if absolutely no emojis appear on your feed, that's because I'm still working on them, much like this avatar picture you see right here. Thank you, and enjoy.
I think now's the time to stop smashing and start thinking. We can't just rush in blindly without a...
You better shut up! You break seas good, but Hulk, break.
God! It can evolve! done throwing your little temper tantrum, perhaps you'd like to hear me out at last?
Fine. What's happening?
Too late. It's found us.
Must I end in my side? These hands I break. If not, I howl. I am all powerful. I would think he games. I am the one below. So you can control outcomes with a thought. But how long will that last you? So, you managed to defeat my host. I suppose you'll have to do.
Now I know what you're thinking. How the hell did that happen? I know Godzilla's currently destroying the Marvel Universe as we speak, but didn't Death Battle state that Bruce Banner technically had this one in the bag, even if Hulk didn't? Well, I do concede that what happened in Death Battle was a possibility under certain scenarios, especially if we only put him up against Ultima in particular, but against a composite, way more times than not, the king of the monsters reigns supreme. To be blunt though, that's not to say Hulk is totally outclassed. He did have his fair share of advantages over Godzilla. His smaller size made him a much harder target to hit. He was also far more agile, faster on his feet, and potentially physically stronger depending on how angry he got. At first. But, given Godzilla's ability to evolve, even that advantage wasn't guaranteed to last. But okay, let's play fair and analyze this through Death Battle's own rules, starting of course with power. Now to be fair, Hulk is absolutely no slouch. This is the same guy who clapped a universe to pieces and shook the infinite crossroads between dimensions and beyond. However, Godzilla has been beyond that for a while. Not only has he recently done the exact same thing just by screaming, but he's also able to trade blows with cosmology level beings like Superman and even withstand attacks that are powerful enough to shatter through dimensions. He even destroyed an interdimensional plane of hell in a fight with Space Godzilla, and even survived another one being erased around him, many of which have been stated to be infinite in scale. In fact, Godzilla's power was even too much for the morphing grid to handle, a realm that's outside of the very concept of dimensionality as a whole. And that's not even including the capabilities of Ultima, who can manipulate causality, manipulating his results on a whim, and can see all of space-time and all possible outcomes that will be. Meaning no matter how powerful the Hulk became, Ultima could just simply negate it. But to be fair, Hulk has broken out of chains of the first firmament, which could overwhelm Eternity, another being who can also alter the narrative of any story. That, combined with Hulk's ability to adapt to any conceivable situation, meant that Godzilla's causality manipulation was not guaranteed to work on Hulk directly. However, on the other hand, Godzilla also broke Hulk's limbs, the same limbs that broke said chains of the first firmament. So then again, any adaptation that Hulk gained over the course of the battle, Godzilla could always adapt to that as well. But then Hulk would also adapt to that, and Godzilla would adapt to that, and yeah, you can clearly see where this is going, right? So no matter how you slice it, the gap in power between them is completely nebulous, completely unclear, I might say. So in conclusion, with all cards on the table, even though the advantage should technically just barely go to Godzilla, since he has more means to keep the advantage up for longer, the safest bet would be to call this one a tie. Regardless, no amount of power was going to mean a damn thing in the face of their immortality, which really threw a wrench into things. This battle was quite literally an endless loop of constant death and resurrection, even without their healing factors. For Hulk, the green door always instantly appears whenever his soul spawns into the below place. And for Godzilla, the higher dimensional entity, or Ultima's true form, could always summon him a replacement body on the fly. And even then, Godzilla also has other means of resurrecting as well. So no matter how you slice it, both Godzilla and Hulk had absolutely no means of killing each other through brute force alone. So both sides were going to have to get a little creative. So let's look at their cosmology. Marvel has infinite higher dimensions and timelines, transcended by 9 layers of higher transcending planes, with the ones above and below all resting snugly in the House of Ideas and below place respectively. By comparison, Godzilla's own cosmology is just as vast and infinite, and like it or not, actually does have transcending layers of its own, in the form of its variation of hell, which can expand up to a total of 10 layers. That's 1 layer more than Marvel's cosmology, and if Singular Point's novelization is anything to go by, Ultima's domain is outside of all of those transcending layers. This meant that unfortunately for both Hulk and the one below all, Ultima's domain, Godzilla's respawn point and source of immortality, is completely out of Toba's reach. So the big question is, if both of them can't die, and the one below all cannot affect the Ultima entity, could the entity somehow get Godzilla down into the below place? Surprisingly, yes, he could. Godzilla was already able to travel through all the many different layers of hell itself just by walking there, so he should be able to plow his way deep into the below place. And even if you do want to assume that somehow the Ultimate Entity couldn't reach the below place from the get-go, the exposure to Gamma alone would be all that he needs to gain access to the below place and travel there directly. Gamma may be an ethereal energy source that mutates reality beyond our understanding, but it's still a type of radiation. A radiation that Godzilla can exploit. Okay, lastly, we knew this was coming. Let's address the scientists in the room. Could Bruce Banner solve the equation and cut off the entity's connection to our reality? Well, yes and no. Let me explain. So, let's look at the end of Singular Point. In the end, Ultima was defeated using a super trans-dimensional calculator plugged into a singular point calculating at infinite speeds with the help of 2 sentient AI systems, one from the past and one from the present, with the one from the present diving into a singularity while Ultima was distracted fighting Jet Jaguar, who was housing the other AI system. Then both of them finding, losing, and solving the equation at infinite speeds on a constant loop from inside of Jet Jaguar's systems until it merged with the orthogonal diagonalizer and became the code itself, activating the device and forcing Archetype to turn against itself, converting into its final form and cutting off the entity's connection entirely. Oh, okay. Now my head hurts. Brain aneurysms aside, one thing that is to note about this strategy is that it was a joint effort. And yes, while Bruce definitely would have had both the tools and the know-how to be able to replicate this strategy, it still would have taken him way too long to build the necessary devices in order to pull off this strategy by himself. It took him days to build a small interstellar radio out of sticks and stones. And given the catastrophe is supposed to end the universe in about a week's time, with the amount of devices required to pull this off, it would have required way too much time. Time that Bruce would not have, even with the most generous estimations of Bruce's intellect. After all, even if his intelligence is superhuman, his physical body is not. And it's still going to take him a very long time to construct them. And even if he somehow did manage to construct the necessary devices in time, one major problem is that it's still going to require Hulk's cooperation. And given their very rocky relationship, while not impossible, it's still not guaranteed he'd be able to get Hulk on the same page in time. After all, there were plenty of times where Hulk has straight up refused to listen to Banner, even while there were high stakes. And even if by some miracle he does manage to get Hulk to cooperate in time, with the amount of tries it would probably take them to find the code, there is the very high possibility that Hulk could just grow impatient and just lash out, veering off course and ruining the plan entirely. But I know what you're thinking. Hulk punched his way into comic book gutter space. Couldn't he just punch his way into the singular point? Well, not exactly. For one, he was only able to do so mainly because of Gwenpool's indirect influence, and two, that was about as far as he could reach. Ultima's true form as a concept is something that would technically be outside of the boundaries of the two-dimensional page, something that Hulk has never been able to reach. So no, that type of brute force wouldn't quite be enough to reach into Ultima's domain. And even if it was, the outcome would not change. With direct exposure to the entity, any device that Bruce could dish out would never get the chance to work, and the entity's true presence would instantly reduce both Hulk and Banner to a brainless, blubbering mess just by being there, as entities beyond our perception tend to do, leaving them vulnerable for the entity to just kill them on the spot. Or cut off their connection to the green door, or banish them away from the below place, or absorb their souls, or just negate the Hulk altogether. Simply put, Godzilla simply had far more options to break the loop than Hulk did. Even if Banner did somehow manage to solve the equation and break the connection, the entity could just simply rebuild a new connection over time and enable Godzilla to continue the fight. In other words, Hulk and Banner would always be under a constant time crunch, while Godzilla had pretty much all the time he could ever need in the infinite multiverse. And all of that prior knowledge, combined with the fact that Snow Godzilla can just simply teleport between dimensions directly, there was really nothing stopping Godzilla from just entering the below place and destroying the green door. But that's not quite enough, as Godzilla would still have to deal with one more hurdle in his way. The one below all himself was easily by far the most dangerous opponent that Godzilla will have ever had to face in his life, more than capable of absolutely obliterating most versions of him if given the chance. However, to be fair, there is a version of Godzilla from the D&D cosmology who was so powerful that even the luminous being, an entity actually not too dissimilar to that of the one above all, admitted that Godzilla was simply too much for him to contain. However, containing someone and defeating them are not quite the same thing, so yeah, it wasn't a surefire win for Godzilla either way. Fortunately for Godzilla, it just so happened he had one last trump card up his sleeve. A trump card that he gained from his trip to Hell, which granted him the ability to resist and deflect any attacks coming his way, which granted him the power to obliterate the God Mountain, an entity so immensely powerful that he already views the entirety of the whole Godzilla cosmology, including Ultima's domain, as finite and himself infinite, a form that also allows him to close and open up portals between dimensions, a form so unfathomably busted that even after usage, Godzilla's power was boosted to the point where he could obliterate the Devil Mountain, who was so immensely powerful that even the writer compared him to the likes of Yog-Sothoth, one of the most powerful of the outer gods in the entire Lovecraftian mythos, a form that allowed him to transcend the God paradox itself, a feat completely unheard of in all of fiction itself. It's like this form was literally made for this. Now, whether or not it would be enough to destroy the One Below All directly is still up for debate, but it would definitely be enough to take down a One Below All powered Hulk, who is nowhere near as powerful as the real thing. In the end, there was only one real way this battle could end. Hulk and Bruce may have had the tools to stop it temporarily, but only Godzilla had the means to end it permanently. In this holy war among the divine, Godzilla delivered Bruce from the devil within. The winner is Divine Godzilla.